Our first girth that we're going to be measuring today is an arm relaxed girth. That's going to involve me actually having to mark up the client. So the important thing when we're marking up the client is use a whiteboard marker because they're easily wiped off. The second thing is make sure that we measure the exact same way every time that we mark up the client. And lastly, if the client doesn't want this test done and they don't like you drawing on them, don't do it. Okay, so I've already had a chat to Weston and he's consented to do this test. So we're going to start off marking up the acromion process, which is the top of the scapula. Okay, so we push in from the side and we feel for a flat spot and we mark that with a dot. The next point that we're going to mark up is actually the space that is between his elbow. Okay, so the bottom of the humerus to the top of the radius, and I put my finger in that space and I mark with a dot. I now measure halfway between the two, so I can find the midpoint of his arm and I mark that with a dot. So with an arm girth we should have no more than 3 dots. Now that I've found the midpoint of the arm, we feed the tape around, making sure that the tape is horizontal, and I take my reading. Now it's important that we measure the left and the right arm for this. The next girth that we're going to be measuring is an arm contracted girth. So for this we're looking for the peak of the bicep. We don't need to mark this one up, we just need to observe where the highest point of the bicep is. So if we get Weston in, he's going to do a half contraction, so I can see the highest point of his bicep is there. So we're going to place the tape around that point. And now I'll get Weston to contract fully. And I take the measurement and relax.